Build your career like a pyramid. That's the advice I wish I got 20 years ago when I started in technology. Let me explain. I'm John, and this is the Tech Director YouTube channel. I want to share with you my experiences over the past 20 years plus in technology roles, from help desk to cybersecurity management, project management, software development, and director level positions. Build your career like a pyramid. A project manager gave me this piece of advice later on in my career, but it would have been so useful to have received at the early stage of my career. And here's why. When we think about advancing in your career, the corporate ladder, as it were, we think you start as an analyst, then you're the intermediate analyst, senior analyst, maybe the manager of the analysts, but very linear, one step in front of the other without moving outside into other functions and disciplines in technology or the business. And that's what the premise of building your career like a pyramid is. Taking the chance early in your career to move laterally into different disciplines and into different teams and functions prior to trying to accelerate that vertical movement up the organizational hierarchy. Okay, so why would it be beneficial to have this broad base of experience versus a singular specialization? Really, there's many things, there's many benefits to it. So one is you get to try different things. You get to learn what you like, what you don't like, what you're naturally good at, maybe what you're naturally not very good at, and you have to work really hard at it. When I look back on my career, I was very focused on project management for a long time. Became a certified project manager, ran projects, still run projects, but not as a project manager. And the reason is that I liked the work. I liked doing it. I didn't like that it was the only thing I did. So I wanted to lead projects, but not have that be the entire focus of my job. I don't know that I would have gained that realization without having gone into project management. So moving laterally gives you exposure to disciplines and ideas and technologies that you can then use to refine what your career trajectory needs to look like. Okay, number two, stability. Having that broad base of experience really gives you a lot of stability in your career. So let's go back to specialization. Let's say I was the network service analyst, and then I was the senior network service analyst. And then there's a corporate restructure, which happens at all big companies. And the company decides we're going to outsource our network services, and we're going to outsource anything to do with security to a third-party company. And so now there's no room for network services professionals in our company. That leaves you vulnerable, very vulnerable to potentially being laid off. If you've had a broad base to your career, and let's say you joined as a help desk analyst, then moved into desktop support or server admin, and then network services. If the decision is made at the time you're in network services that they're going to outsource that function, you have experiences still valuable to the company. And your experience in the company and your relationships with people there will lead to a likelihood that they'll find a spot for you if you're a quality candidate that they want to keep, versus not having transferable skills outside of that singular discipline that's being outsourced. Okay, so stability, getting to know what you like, don't like, and who you are and who you aren't. What about the unique combination of skills it creates? So think about it this way. In our example of starting on the help desk, moving to desktop services support, then into, let's call it cybersecurity support, you now have a base of experience in those 3 areas. Let's say you're ready to make that vertical jump. I want to get into technology management of some form, and the manager of desktop services job becomes available. You apply for that. You have experience in that area. Others might be applying for it as well that have experience in that area. But do they have experience in desktop services and cybersecurity and help desk? Now you have 3 disciplines that come together to make you a unique candidate. You can market yourself as, I know how to manage this team because I did that work. But more than that, I know how their work and their interactions with the cybersecurity and help desk impact the business as a whole. I can take my experience in endpoint security and threat detection from cybersecurity and bring that to this team so that we're a more well-rounded team and can function better across those 2 divisions. So that combination of skills is hugely valuable as you move through your career. And 3, more opportunity. So in that example, the manager of the desktop services job was available. But if you have experience in cybersecurity, desktop services, and help desk, any one of those manager jobs could have been available, and you'd have been as equally qualified for all 3 of them. So now you have more opportunities that you could take advantage of because you spent time building your career laterally. So one thing I do want to mention, if you have a passion for if you have a passion for a unique area, like let's say data engineering. I want to be a data engineer. I started out as a data analyst, and then I got into data engineering, and one day I want to be a data scientist or chief data officer at a company. You've got a discipline and a passion that you're focused on. If you have that vision for yourself, go for that. This advice about a broad base for your career is for people who maybe aren't sure. I know I wasn't sure. I remember being asked very early on, after taking a job at a help desk, where did I think I was going to move into in the company? And I didn't know. I was qualified to move into network services or server admin, but I was very worried about getting boxed in and stuck somewhere I didn't like. Like, what if I moved into server and I spent some years there and became a senior server person and I didn't like it? What if, how do you take a step back and move somewhere else? I didn't want to get stuck somewhere. But if you take the time to move laterally and find out what you really like, you start to realize, I'm not going to get stuck anywhere. I can move up in this team and then over to another team because I have that base of experience that I can still draw on from my time in another team. So I would really say, if you're unsure, or maybe you just are excited by trying new things and you're kind of bored or burnt out in the area you're in, a lateral move is a good way to break out and stay energized and connected with your career. So I hope you found this valuable today. Please post in the comments if you have any topics or thoughts on this topic or questions you'd like me to answer in future videos. There's also a link in the description to book a consultation call with me if you need any help with career planning, whether you're trying to break into technology as a new grad or as a career change, or just trying to maximize your career and you're already in the technology industry. Thanks for spending time.